Hi everyone, this is Marianne and welcome to a series on my channel called 5-Minute Book Talk, in which I take roughly 5 minutes to talk about a book that I have read while I flip through the book. In this video, I'm going to talk about the novel The Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. The book is a historical novel. It was published in 1989, but its story begins in the year 1123. That's the date when the story begins in the prologue, and chapter 1 begins in the year 1135, and the entire novel goes on for about 500 years. The place where the story happens is a town in England called Knightsbridge, and the entire story is centered on the building of a cathedral. And that's really where the title of the novel comes from, I think, because the cathedral is used as a symbol for the community that grows around the building of the cathedral. Organized religion is represented by the cathedral as the pillars that keep the earth standing and stable. And aside from the building of the cathedral, many other things happen in the novel. There is a priory that the village is centered around, and it is this priory that oversees the construction of the cathedral. This cathedral will be for them to manage. And there is conflict and intrigue in the priory. And because this is set in medieval times, the novel also included references to actual historical events that happened with the English royalty, like wars and all of the intrigues and conspiracies and power struggles of the monarchy and the aristocracy, which of course includes disputes over property, land, riches, castles, rights to certain business entities, things like that lead to murders and assassinations and so much violence, including violence against women and children. The main character is a mason whose name is Tom Builder. His last name is really Builder, and he's one of the main people involved in the actual building of the cathedral, and the evolution of his family story is included in the novel. But aside from Tom Builder, other characters in the novel also have very compelling stories, like Aliena. It really is quite an expansive novel and really enjoyable, with all of the rich details and qualifiers of medieval life, including the day-to-day, like food, like how water was taken from the river, like how they endured the famine, like how weddings were done, how monks lived, as well as the architectural and engineering details about the cathedral that was being built. The stones and the woodwork and the foundations and the buttresses. You can really sink yourself into this novel. However, I did notice that hygiene was not really discussed that much in the novel, if at all. I am sure it was unnecessary to the novel, but discussing hygiene would have added to the authenticating details, because at that time there was no hygiene and people actually died because of lack of sanitation, because they were not aware that they needed to be clean. The world at that time had no access to running water, modern plumbing was not existent, modern medicine did not exist. So, for example, they did not brush their teeth. Their teeth rotted and fell out, and we know now that dental problems can lead to or cause heart problems that people can eventually die from. Another example is that in medieval times, being pregnant and giving birth was pretty much a touch-and-go affair, and it was a miracle that some women did not die despite the environment of the birth being dirty. Houses were also not that sanitized, like floors were made of dirt, and people did not have beds, so they slept on the floor. And because the dirt on the floor feels cold, people covered the floor with thresh, which are long, thin stalks and leaves that were the remnants of some harvested crops. Over time, small insects and rodents would live under the thresh. It's really not very sanitary at all, but that was the normal way to live at that time. So disease was rampant. But in the novel, there was not much mention of disease and people dying young because of disease. Everyone seemed to be healthy and strong and lived to old age, except for those that were killed in fights. But then again, the novel really worked even without touching on the lack of hygiene and sanitation. This is really just me being nitpicky, because I remember being a young child and being so fascinated with medieval history. Yes, I was a morbid, nerdy little child. So you can just imagine how enthralled I was with this very thick novel. There's so much loss, so much fear and uncertainty in this novel, despite the existence of love and friendship and family. Human beings are really such animals a lot of times. Then and now, it makes me wonder if we have learned anything at all. Well, actually, yes, we have. We learned a lot about hygiene and sanitation and about engineering and architecture. We have learned a lot, but about the experience of being human, we have not learned that much. I don't think so. And that's really the importance of historical novels, to make us see that we have come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. This is a very beautiful novel, rich and thick, and it is a bestseller, and it was even made into a miniseries and a video game. In the 2000s, 3 sequels and a prequel were published. I haven't read those, but I plan to. I think everyone should.